I'm really happy to have you on, my channel, talking about goosebumps and chills, or the French term frisson. What are some of the times that you felt it in your life?
Deja vu. Like you go to a place and then it gives you chills. Like opening your, like we've talked about, I have a sixth sense.
Yeah.
Like somehow we call it a third eye. Mm-hmm. That it's, it opens you up to another dimension that is connected to the present. And then sometimes you just bump into a person, like, everything happens for a reason, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes you bump into a person and then gives you chills. This old man, like, then he had a terminal cancer. He approached me and then said, Lester, I would come to you in the next, you would know that reincarnation is for real, because I will come to you as a child. That gives me chills.
And does it give you chills even when you think about it?
Yeah, I'm still, yeah.
Was he like deeply spiritual, or was
Yes, he was into meditation. There was an instance where, I was facing like this, a patient, like something was mentioned, and then both of our arms, like the one that's adjacent to hers, like, we both felt it, like, the goosebumps.
Something that might trigger something and you can trigger something in somebody else at the same time. Mm. Maybe there is an exchange of this type of electricity.
Electric, like some in the electromagnetic field.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So every time I go to a museum and then I touch those, original pieces, it gives me chills. You can see probably the connection in that particular piece that,
Yeah, I think sometimes these things are a little hard to explain too, right? Because they're subjective. But I think a lot of times when some people have said that whenever they're, they see a piece that moves them or gives them that feeling, they might have been able to like connect to it on a deeper level.
It's like as simple as intuition, right? The same, you're thinking about the same, like example as simple as, you asking your colleague, your coworker to what to eat, for lunch. Oh, I'm thinking about Chipotle or, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you both like have that in mind, and then suddenly you both get goosebumps or something like that.
Yeah, I think you mentioned something interesting, because for me, another trigger for me is like synchronicities in life.
Yeah.
Like things that happen, like that just happen in a very like, magical way, I guess. Maybe if I'm saying something that really resonates with me and probably resonates with that person, I'll get a full body chill, and like it'll go around my head. That's when I know, like, bullseye. Right? Yeah. I don't have it on all the time. The goal is to try to keep it on as much as possible, because it feels good and usually good things happen. But if I'm actively just channeling it, it usually produces good results.
So you're saying that you can produce it, like, voluntarily?
Yeah, I can. The one thing I always wish for is like more and more. So I think because of that, I sort of like trained my body to doing it more often. And it's not just a neat party trick. I think it's more than that. It's a way to regulate my emotions. It's a way to create a euphoric feeling. But I can even just do it even now. I could show you, like.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
It's happening here.
Yeah,
it's all around my head. It's going down my legs. I'm tapping into something you can see on my arms here.
Yeah,
it's there. Yeah. I don't know if the camera can catch it, but it feels very electrical in nature.
What were you thinking just then?
Oh my gosh. Well,
is this something specific?
It is a specific. I have a specific trigger right now.
You have to have a specific thing, right, to trigger the.
It helps me. I think some people, they can just trigger it. Like for some people, they might feel like in the back of their neck where it starts. That's like a common thing, and then maybe they just focus here, and then it'll just activate. But yeah, for me, I like to use triggers that gave it to me. It could be either in a movie scene, maybe a lyric in a song, maybe a song in particular, maybe something someone did. it could be a religious figure, like Siddhartha or Jesus are great triggers for me. And I just sort of rotate. You know, I just like, maybe like this week, this is what's giving it to me. Then I'll tap into that. And then maybe it'll be something else. Could be even like, you know, one of the patients here was a trigger for me for a good amount of time. And then I was able to voluntarily, and it's the same for him too. I think that was really cool. So it always, I'm just open to it because it's kind of like, they're kind of like batteries. The triggers are like batteries. If I use them too much, then I'll drain that trigger and I won't be able to.
And you have to recharge.
Yeah, I have to recharge or go for something else, you know? I have to always keep my body in a certain place where I'm like, I'm not too low, I'm not too depressed, I'm not too sad about something. Because I know if I'm doing that, I'm not going to be able to do this. So it's a level of like discipline too. But also like I'm more activated, like I'm more alert. I'm like even more here now, like after I've done that. And I feel it like it's kind of like a buzz.
Yeah.
It's like an electrical buzz and it feels amazing. It does. And it is 100% something that can help with therapy.
Then probably like one day it becomes like a healing, you know, kind of thing, and I would eradicate like some sickness or, you know.
Yeah, I think so, honestly.
Right.
I'm a user of this. It's funny for me to say I'm a user, but I do this.
You're a firm believer, you know.
Sure. Yeah.
Because if you believe on like something that, you know, it will progress. You think this would cure mental health or will trigger like, you know?
This is a tool, a massive tool in the toolbox I don't think people know about. It just like brings so much more clarity, you know? And when I'm able to think right, I'm able to perceive things in a better way. And it keeps me in this positive state of being, keeps me positive. And we know what that does for the body, you know. I can shift how I feel right away, you know. And that would be healing for a lot of people who are suffering, I think, in depression or they're ruminating.
Like anxiety disorder,
yeah,
manic, depressive.
But yeah, just if people can keep those things that give it to them, then they can develop the skill and the ability. And I think that it will help them, whatever medications they need to take or whatever it is, whatever they're dealing with, it can make life a lot easier. It's a tool in the toolbox.
Everything will be holistic. And, you know, like some kind of like, you know, mind power, like aside from meditation. And it will cure something, you know, a disease or illness.
Yeah.
Or, you know, like especially like mental health.
The reason why I like this a lot too is because it can be felt immediately. I think people can have results immediately, like just in that moment. I've had immediate results just now. You know, I think when people see that, they feel that.
Just talking about it, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And you know, there's a thing called like therapeutic use of self, where like, you know, as therapists, we're supposed to use ourselves as a mode of therapy, but sometimes they might not be receptive or it might not happen, but when it does happen, it is very therapeutic.
Yeah. You didn't even touch the patient, you just talk. And then suddenly the same patient who had the pain when you walked in, and then when you finished talking about stuff, about life, about anything, and then suddenly says, I feel better.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I feel good.
Yes. I've actually had a few patients.
And that gives me another, you know, chills when they say that.
Yeah.
That also like, you know, validation that you did a good, you know, and you know to yourself that you helped the person. That gives me chills. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like gratitude. That's a big one.
Yeah. Hopefully it will help people to manage their anxiety or whatever. So yeah, for me the easiest way, what really this all about is the connection. You know, a connection to certain people, like, you know, even if like you're sitting in a wedding reception, and then, you know, when the best man or the you know, gives speeches, or the father or the parents, that, you know, there are parts that it gives you goosebumps, or like when the bride is walking, right?
Yeah.
That happens to me.
Yeah, it's just like such a great way to experience life. And what a great thing. I think like spreading that feeling, you know, we're contagious, right? I mean, our emotions are contagious, our thoughts are, you know, for saying them out loud are contagious and things like that. I think this is a great thing to spread.
Yeah, speaking of the recent solar eclipse, I was watching this TikTok video of a professor, like when he used to be a science teacher, like in high school, I think in this intermediate school. He said that, okay, 24 years from now we're gonna have another eclipse. That was in 1970 something. And then he said, he promised that he will gather them, the students. Those who would be still present, I will call you. And it happened. Like 100 people, students showed up. And that gives me chill. Something like, you know, things that it's very unlikely to happen and then it happened. I think the thought of that gives me chills.
Sure. Yeah, me too.
Right?
You know? Yeah, because then I would be like, wow.
It's like impossible to happen, and it happened.
You know, it's something that you're in the presence of that is like rare or hard to find, and then you have that appreciation for it. And then what happens is, since you're so excited about it, you're so appreciative, you're so like just loving that moment, then your nervous system has to match the emotion, and it gives you that for some.
Yeah, and I believe what you said, that you know, it's you know, it's therapeutic. It would release your tension or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you know, people are moody sometimes, and then probably like that one would. I would try that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate
You're welcome.
you, man. Yeah.